Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Quintesson Allicon. That's right. After all these years, it's finally happened. We get an official Allicon toy. So, yay for that. The Allicon is number 19 in the Earthrise toy line, and he's part of the second wave of Deluxes that are finally making their way out and about here in the States. And I gotta tell you, the timing here is very fortuitous for this guy to show up at my doorstep, because I just got word that my Pit of Judgment has just shipped out and is on the way. And if you don't know, the Quintesson Pit of Judgment includes a Quintesson Bailiff, which is a pretty heavy retool of this guy right here. So it works. I'll review him, then I'll review the retool when it comes. I like it when things show up in order like that. Doesn't always happen with, the Rona distribution. But anyway, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this is going to go. We're going to take a look at the Allicon in his packaging. Then we'll open it up, we'll see his map piece, we'll look at his instructions, and then we'll see the toy itself in both its beast and robot modes. Do some quick group shots with other Quintesson Allicon characters, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So the Allicon comes in your standard Earthrise Deluxe packaging. You got the logos, his name, number, and then you got our boy right here on the front. And see, you got the main robot, you can see his tail down here, and then off to the side, you got his spear weapon. And then on the side panel, you get to see this really, really nicely done artwork of the character, which appears to take place in the same alien landscape that some of the other ones do, like I think Astro Train. There's got to be like a bigger piece of artwork out there, right? Because a lot of these guys share a background. Maybe, maybe not. It looks like there would be. Flip it around, and you get some renders of the toy, and you may notice that the colors are quite different from the final product. A lot more pink and purple going on. And this actually looks a lot like the in-hand samples that Takara showed off well before the toy was released. And a lot of people were wondering if they were getting a different deco on their toy or not. Turns out just kind of like an earlier draft of the figure. And it looks like these renders were taken from that. So thankfully, in my opinion anyway, they went with the much nicer coloration here, the gray and silver and all that. I wouldn't have liked this as much. Anyway, the toy takes 14 steps to transform, so fairly complex. And then here you get your standard Earthrise side panel. Okay, here's the Allicon's map piece. And just like RC, there you can see two entries on here. So let me go ahead and pull this up. First one we see is Gigantian, formerly known as the Giant Planet from the Unicron trilogy. And then up here we have Junkion again. That's interesting because Junkion was also on RC's map piece. So, not sure what's going on there. But, I don't know, I'm sure they got something in store for us. And then you can just see a whole bunch of lines going all over the place. Next we have the instructions here. And you got this nice render of the Allicon on the front, showing off him using his tail weapon. Got the very cool Quintesson faction symbol. Got his name, number, all that. Tech specs on the side, which intelligence is very, very low. Sad, but very fitting. All right here it shows you how to use his accessories, how to attach his whole tail piece that comes unattached in the box there. And once you attach it, it's supposed to stay on. This shows you how to use his tail weapon and how to store his spear. So that's cool. And then over here you just get the transformation. And fairly simple compared to some other deluxes. But yeah, you just go all the way around, and then you get your beast mode, your alligator-esque mode. And yeah, he can hold the spear in his little nubby little alligator hands if you want him to. And here on the side, as usual, is just a little how-to for the decoder. And now we get a nice look at the Allicon himself in his beast mode. And I have him posed in a way that's similar to like the stock photos, the renders, the instructions, where he's mostly upright, very tall looking. However, anyone that's seen the original Transformers cartoon and the movie, they know that they're normally a lot more squat than this, right? They don't have these big long legs. They're usually just kind of hunched over and have little legs coming out of the bottom. So this is really not very accurate to their screen depiction. And there's some things you can do with the posing to kind of fix it. You can, if you want, just kind of tuck his legs like up as far as they'll go, and then just, you know, give him kind of a deep knee bend, and you know, you can kind of mimic how they should look. And even this isn't, you know, very, very accurate, but it helps a lot more. It helps differentiate it from the robot mode. All right, so let's pose them like that. Now, one thing that might be very glaring, very much an eyesore that you may have picked up on, are the robot fists are just hanging out along the sides. And this right here is probably my least favorite thing about this toy. I really hate that they couldn't have engineered these to just tuck up inside or something, because that, I mean, that looks awful. That looks very lazy, like a one-step changer kind of lazy transformation. I just, this bugs me so much. And it has. It's bugged me ever since it was revealed, and I knew it was going to bug me in hand, and it sure does. But it's there, so, you know, kind of take it or leave it. It's either kills it for you or it doesn't. Anyway, the head is very nicely painted. You can see it's done up in like a gray plastic, but with a light blue and a purple on the nose. Nice red eyes, like an off-white for the teeth. Got red inside the mouth, more tooth paint on the lower jaw. And both jaws move independently from one another. The lower jaw, you know, can swing, the upper jaw can. They kind of meet in the middle here. His head articulation's a bit limited as far as how well these travel together, because they have a neutral point where you can close the mouth, but then after that, like, yeah, if you lift his head up, the jaw can't reach it. If you pull the jaw down, the head can't reach it. In fact, you might pop his back section off like that. So just something to keep in mind. Not the best setup for the mouth, but it does look very nice. The paint's great. He's unfortunately missing all the little spiky details on the nose ridge, which I'm guessing that's for safety reasons. Of course, he does get some cool spikes on the shoulders, but you can see they're very, very much nubs, right? Probably not in danger of poking anyone's eyes out. Something I noticed on my copy, unfortunately, there's a little worn spot right there on that little shoulder spike. It just came like that. Bugs me a little bit. Wish it wasn't there, but I wouldn't expect that on all your copies. The spear is pretty nice. I think it's actually two different plastics. The tip is one color, and it's, you know, soft for safety reasons, and then the handle is that dark gray. And the little alligator arms, they can swing up and down, but their, you know, elbows don't bend or anything. And they are made of the same soft plastic that the spear tip is made out of. In fact, spikes too, I think. So it looks like anything that's this light gray color is just a soft rubbery plastic. So it's okay. Wish there was a little more articulation in the little monster arms, but not bad. As far as the legs, we already saw that you get a full range of motion in these bad boys, which is really nice. And you do get ankle tilt, a very nice ankle tilt, and you also get a really good ankle rock too. Look at that. It's like even got like a little layered area, so it's not so gappy. So the legs are really nice. Now we talked about the weapon storage. You can have him take the spear off, and you can use either one of these tabs to attach the spear to his back if you just want it tucked away and, you know, put up safe. So yeah, I like it for the most part. You know, if they had just done something with these fists, I would say that this mode was near perfect for what it has to do as far as engineering. And there's no excuse for this. They just didn't want to. And I guess you could argue that, you know, if they had engineered them to flip up inside, you may not be able to have the little 5mm ports down there, but honestly, if I had to sacrifice those and not have big robot fists just hanging out of the side, I gladly would have done so. That's just how I feel. Just for fun, here's a shot of our Allicon with a Sharkticon from Titan's Returns, specifically Gnaw, hence the Decepticon symbol. And they don't scale well, because Gnaw is a Legends class, though we are supposedly getting a Deluxe class Gnaw in the Studio Series line, so that'll be cool. But aesthetically, they work really well together. The dark grays match up quite well. They're not exactly the same, but they just... You can tell these guys were kind of cut from the same color palette, and I dig it. I think, you know, if you have a bunch of these dudes, they'll look really good together. All right, and now we get to the transformation. So the first thing you want to do, go ahead, just set his little spear aside. You won't need it. Now, you You want to close his mouth. You're going to lift his little back and tail section up, like so. And then you want to turn this around 180 degrees. Let's go ahead and straighten his legs out. You take this little green flap, flip it forward, turn the legs around, and flip that down. And then you're going to pull this gator head down, and as you do, his robot head automatically pops up, so that's really cool. And you take this back section, you push it all the way in, and then you collapse the tail, and there's a little tab on the inside of the tail section that's going to plug into the top of his nose, hold everything in place like so. Go ahead, untab his arms from his side, fix the fists, bring the alligator hands just around until they just kind of bump up against the forearm spike. The same thing here. And that's that for the transformation. Like I said, he's not very complex, but man, does he look cool in this mode. I mean, the coloration isn't an exact one-for-one match to the cartoon model, but it is quite close, and just his overall features are pretty much dead on. The face especially, and I love this like baby blue paint on the face with the red eyes and everything, because it really matches the cartoon colors very well. I have a little bit of dinginess on the little head fin there. Came that way, just like the shoulder spike. Unfortunate, but doesn't kill it for me. My least favorite thing about this mode is pretty much my least favorite thing about the alligator mode is that you have vestigial arms hanging off. Now here, they work a little better as like some sort of a decoration, because it is fairly common for Transformers with a beast mode to have, you know, bits and pieces of that kibble hanging off in the robot mode. So it doesn't bother me as much as, you know, the robot fists on the alligator, but I digress. You can see the head tucks away nice and neatly. This tip of his tail actually forms a sword or dagger type weapon, so you just go ahead and pull it out. Get him hold on to that. It's like a little sword thing. Looks like a scimitar kind of. And of course we can give him his little spear. So just go ahead and put that in his fist. Probably want the little tab facing away from the camera for aesthetic reasons. But yeah, this guy is awesome. I absolutely love him in his robot mode. Helps make up for the somewhat weak alligator mode. Though, again, overall the alligator mode I think is really nice. Even if it's not very screen accurate, it's just cool looking on its own. But yeah, I mean, look at this dude. He is so cool. The head is on a ball joint, fairly loose one, so you get quite a bit of range of motion. The piece that it's on wobbles a little bit because of the auto transformation gimmick. The shoulders, they swivel up and down. They also swing outward in this direction. The wrists are on a swivel, so that's nice. He does have waist articulation, but is kind of limited by his kibble. But luckily this little skirt flap thing here does lift up to give him a little more leeway, which is nice. Got universal joints for the hips. It's got a high thigh swivel, single bend knees, and then, like we saw earlier, a very nice ankle tilt and a very, very nice ankle rock. So you can get him in some very dynamic poses, which is fantastic. So yeah, I love this thing. It's so cool. And it's a toy I wasn't sure we were ever going to get. You know, this was strictly in the realm of unofficial third party for a very long time. But Hasbro does seem to be doing right by fans of the '86 movie between this year and next year, because they're introducing a lot of stuff from that movie. Both returning characters and then never before seen characters like this guy, like the Quintesson Judge. So it's a pretty exciting time if you're a fan of that old movie. As far as some additional features on this guy, he does have some 5mm ports. He's got one on the back right here. He's got forearm ones that are on the underside because, you know, the alligator kibble. He's got them on his upper arms / shoulders, though he may have some clearance problems with that. He has them on the sides of his calves and then the bottoms of his feet. So he can pretty much interact with any weaponizer or modulator type figure. So that's very nice. He's got some hard points on him too. He's got one right here on his shin. He has one here on his back. And that might actually be it. A little lacking on the hard points, but some is better than none. All right, so this is our guy. All right, now for a really fun little group shot, we have our Allicon with all of our currently available Quintesson Allicon figures. So in the front, you get Slitherfang, the Battle Master. Over here, we get Gnaw from Titan's Return again. And then, of course, you need your Quintesson Judge, which just came out. So, yeah, this is really shaping up to be something exciting. And I can't wait to recreate all sorts of fun little scenes with my characters. I can't wait to get the upcoming studio series Hot Rod and Cup so you can, reenact their little trial sequence. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have fun with that and be taking a lot of pictures. Of course, we all know that there is the Pit of Judgment set, which is dropping right now. So that's going to give you even more options to play with. You get an extra Sharkticon, you get another judge. So you can have 2 judges if you want, or you can fold one of them out to their little base mode. You'll get the Bailiff, you'll get the Jailer, Kranix. All sorts of fun to be had here. So I gotta say, I am just very much loving this. I'm eating it all up. Hasbro is currently taking all of my money. But that's okay, right? Because if you're happy, that's what it's all about. Alright, so now that we've gotten a good look at our Quintesson Allicon in both of his modes, done some group shots, comes to my final thoughts. And I think I've already framed it up quite well. I absolutely love this toy, flaws and all. Of course, the flaws that are there aren't any small thing. Not digging the, gator kibble on the arms there. It's just really not screen accurate. And I don't know if they could have done anything with those, so I don't hold that against the figure too much. But when it does come to the alligator mode, again, it's really cool for what it is, but when it comes to the screen accuracy, it could have been a lot better. If they had come up with a way to tuck the legs up underneath it a little better and, molded these fists to just flip away, it would have been near perfect for me. So, it's not perfect. A lot was sacrificed for the necessity to get, one of these modes to the other and back, and the price point, right? It's a deluxe toy, so they are limited in their budget and the engineering department. Now, do I think, given all that, they still could have done better? Yeah, I think so. But I do really, really love what we got. So I fully recommend picking this toy up. It's the first of its kind. It'll go really well if you get the Pit of Judgment set, because you can pair them up with the Bailiff and all that. And I think, regardless of the screen accuracy issues, you're just really going to enjoy this. He looks really great in both of his modes. And just purely as a Transformer and as an action figure, he is a lot of fun to have around. Of course, that is purely how I feel about this toy. Now, more importantly, I want to know what you all think of the Allicon. Is this what you've been waiting for? Is this, the promised Allicon that you've always held out hope for? Or are you disappointed with it? Do the flaws in this toy kind of outweigh the excitement of getting an official Allicon? Do you have third-party ones? And, do you find them better than this one? I imagine probably, right? Probably have better engineering. Would you still pick this guy up even if you had a third-party Allicon? I can't wait to see what you all have to say in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this very long-awaited look at the brand new Earthrise Quintesson Allicon. And with all that said, I will see you next time.